we go. Now we got the angle a little better. The problem, if you make your angle too shallow, it puts a lot of weight out here, and you can actually break where you've cut that notch in the 45 degree. And so you go like this, and not only does it help here, but now when you take the trigger and you put it down here, it's actually easier to notch it up, to get your notch to work down here. If it's at an angle like this, you're working on some really rough angles, and so go like that, and then you're good to go. So probably go like that, and then we'll go ahead and also, if you'll note, I'm making these out of square sticks. I learned a long time ago, when you try to make them out of round sticks, they don't work so well. I mean, you can do it, it's just a lot harder to get your pieces cut. Okay, so now I've got this, and I could simply take this piece and probably make it work. Well, nope, see, the notch is a little different. So that's why you've got to get these cut, so that you've got your figure 4 going like that. Now what we need is the piece that goes like this. And we can't use this one, it was for another one, and so the notch is in the wrong place. So we'll take this stick and we'll see if we can make it work. So let's make it a little bit smaller. Well, that should do it right there. So we'll take that. We're going to basically, what we're doing is making the one side a little bit squared up. What I like to do is kind of do a real quick square up job on this, and then I'll work on this back angle first. So I've got that ready to go. Now what I'll do is I'll look at that and I'll say, okay, yep, I need it cut back here, and I do it close to the end as I can get, but still have enough left over so that it's not making the back of it too weak. But you got to remember, if you do this right, it doesn't require a lot of strength in this trigger. It's really pretty light. So I'll go like that, hook that up. So I don't like how it's that low, but we'll play with it and see if we can make it work. And then what I do, this is kind of one of the tricks here. Put it in here so that everything's kind of tight right here, and then put that on there so it's catching it, and then pull it just a little bit that way, and then mark it. We're talking maybe 1/8 of an inch. Mark it. What I'm doing, I'm marking it with my finger here, so I know that right there is where I need to cut that notch. If you don't do it that way, it becomes extremely hard to set this thing later. So now I cut that away, and this notch is kind of critical. Right there, so let's take this and see if it's going to work. So we've got that. Okay, now the next thing I want to show you is this part right here on your upright. Sometimes the stick, well, most of the time, it won't be able to go over and get set on the notch. And so rather than messing with this piece here, which is basically good enough, just take your knife and shave off the back corner right here. Real quick, you don't have to do anything special. Now, when we go back in place, set that up, put that there. We've got our figure 4 set and ready to go. It's preloaded. But a couple of things that we need to do on this upright piece, you want this piece as light as you can possibly get it and not break. The heavier this is, when the animal trips it, it'll be harder for him to trip if this is heavy. But if it is heavy, as it starts to push down on this, you want this light so that that thing will have as much, it can go as quick as it possibly can. So lighten this up as much as you can. Again, without making it too much. And you don't need it thick either, so you can trim it down. probably work. And then the same on your trigger, the bottom part of your figure 4. You've got that there. You've got this set up. Now, instead of just leaving that, let's trim this down a little bit. It doesn't need to be heavy at all. Trim that down, trim the back down. Okay, now we're pretty good to go. If I was not trying to hurry, I'd probably just make it a little bit nicer, but you know, this will work right here. This will catch your little critter. Now if you already have your stone fixed up or your rock and you know about where you're going to be, you'll take your stone and you'll set it down here like this, and you kind of already know where the balance point is at. And so you look under there and you can see where this is, where the end of the trigger is, and you can see, well, maybe that's just a little too far. No problem. Just take it, break it off. And then what you want to do when you put the bait on this thing, don't put a big clump of bait on there. Just take your knife, and if you can see what I'm doing, I'm just scoring. We're putting little cuts in this stick, so you can see that. What we're going to do now is, if you've got just say all you have is one peanut left and you're in this survival situation, take that peanut, say this is the peanut, and just smear it so it goes down into the little teeny cracks. Or if you've got a little teeny bit of peanut butter, I mean, we're talking a piece of peanut butter that's maybe as big as a gnat, just smear that flavor down in there. A piece of peanut butter as big as a pea, you could probably do over a dozen figure 4s and still have enough peanut butter left over for a treat. Okay, so we've got this. It's basically set up and ready to go. Let me get rid of some of this stuff here. And I'm going to use, instead of using the stone on the top, I'm going to use the pipe just so you can see a little bit better. So we'll set this up like that, put that on there, and then, well, I don't like that exactly like that, but we'll make it work. Okay, now one thing that's critical, it's set up and it's good to go. I could use this, but to maybe let me see if, here we go. To make this work even better, find something that you can set on the side. Now make sure that when you do this, there's nothing that's going to get in the way underneath. Set it on the side. If you're out, take some sticks, a whole bunch of sticks, maybe poke them in the ground like this all the way down. That'll help guide your deadfall down, but it'll also make the little critter come in maybe from this point, so his head's facing in, and then in order for him to get out, he's got to turn around in there. The fact that he turns around may be what triggers this trap. So just that little bit right there is all that's needed.